The simple cure to inferior primate syndrome. Now, inferior primate syndrome is anything that is not in alignment with that higher version of yourself. So if you're depleting yourself, you're a self-depleting organism. So you're drinking, you're smoking, trying to escape your reality with drugs, then you are contaminated with inferior primate syndrome. So if you're not in full alignment with that best version of you, so you're aligned with, pleasure, you're indulging in porn, you're trying to do all these things to lead you to a path other than the path you're supposed to walk, which is being the best version of you. If you are neglecting that responsibility of being the best you, then you are contaminated with inferior primate syndrome. So the cure to inferior primate syndrome is to actually look at your life and then calculate the problems, or will at least calculate what's taking away from your life and what's adding to your life. So when we look at you smoking the cigarette and hitting the vape and, trying to reality escape, well, that's taking away from your lifespan, and you're actively dying while you do that. You're literally killing yourself, right? So before you kill yourself, ask yourself, is this taking away from my lifespan, or is this adding to my lifespan? Is this really what I want to do? Or is this an erroneous ultima that I've concluded myself to, indulge in because there's something in my mind that is resonating me to have inferior primate syndrome, right? There's something in my mind that's bothering me to the point where I'll passively kill myself because I have inferior primate syndrome. So remember that anything that brings you out of alignment, anything, I don't give a fuck if it's a girl, a friend, or a party, or a one time. If you're out of alignment, you are an inferior primate. And this is why you need to start working out. You need to actually start tracking your macros and align with the best version of you. The best version of you is going to hit the macros every single time. So while you're skipping the macros, while you're ignoring, fulfilling the task you need to fulfill to get a healthy hit of dopamine and wake up a better version of you, while you're ignoring what's going to align you to that path of being successful, you have to understand that success starts with miniature problems. If you cannot solve the rudimentary problems in your existence, then how the fuck are you going to proliferate and level up in life? You have to understand that if you can't stop hitting a vape, then you're definitely not going to be able to manage, a 10 plus figure business. If you can't even not watch porn for a week, then you're definitely not going to be able to handle the stress and overload of dealing with certain things, trying to reach a specific outcome. So before we even think about money, before we even think about girls, before we even think about indulging in pleasure, let's think about what the fuck you're doing or what the fuck you're gonna do in life. Because most of you are so lost in this fucking shame, apathy, and being an inferior primate, right, that you forgot that you have a path that you're supposed to walk. And that path you're supposed to walk is what's gonna align you to everything you want to be aligned with in life. So every time you ignore the higher calling of being like, okay, shit, I am an inferior primate because all I do is drink, smoke, and life choke on all the bullshit that you're providing to yourself. You're providing this to yourself. So you are waking up with the intent to provide self-destruction because, again, there's something deep within your soul, deep within your mind that is causing you to be affected, because every effect has a cause. And if you're affected to, self-deplete yourself, being a self-depleting organism, thus inferior to a primate, right? So we talked about inferior primate syndrome. If the primate is fit and sober and you're not fit and sober, then you're failing at being an organism on earth. So we have to take a brief analysis of what's taking away and what's adding to your life. And if you are providing self-destruction every time you pick up the cigarette, the vape, the drink, whatever you're indulging, you're failing miserably at being ad hominem. So before you project, this energy of you're the man, you're failing at being a self-depleting organism. So this is why you need to get into alignment, physically, mentally, spiritually. And you're going to do that by starting to solve your problems. You're going to write down all your habits, the bad ones and the good ones, and then you're going to remove all the bad ones. You're going to surplus all the good ones, and you're going to indulge more in the good ones. And then when you're done with, when you've actually rid all your vices, all your negative habits that are subtracting your life, right? And sometimes even your lifespan, you hit the vape, that's -2 HP. You're down 2 health points. A year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to be dead as fuck. 5 years, there's people dying right now to that same thing you're indulging in. So remember that you only live once. And, if you want to maximize yourself, you're going to have to get in alignment with the individual, aka the best version of you, who is going to be optimized for success, right? So when you're drinking, when you're smoking, when you're being a self-incinerating, carcinogen inhaling, self-deprivating, inferior primate, you're not going to really get where you want to go in life. So, before you talk about success and women and money and cars and yachts and apartments, and just remember you're an inferior ad hominid if you can't even align with the best version of you. So start with the habits. Go to my website, go to the free development weekly program. There's a workout for you to hit, a basic beginner workout, and there's also instructions for you to actually begin solving your problems, solving those negative habits, because understand that your habits inhabit your mind. And so if you only indulge in negative habits, then you're going to have a negative mind because your habits are inhabiting your mind. So if you watch porn, if you drink alcohol, that is inhabiting and taking up space in your brain, in your fucking cranium. So, you have to understand that if you don't want to be a negative person, then understand that you shouldn't be indulging in negative things because, your habits are inhabiting fucking space in your fucking goddamn cranium. So if you want to become the individual who's made of fucking titanium, you better overcome what's taking away from your life, and you better surplus what's adding. And you do that by opening the fucking journal, writing down all your habits, and then beginning the work of life, right? Everyone wants to talk about work this, work that. I want to work out. But you ain't even working out your fucking life. So, add positive habits, deplete the self-depleting habits. And if you can't do that, you're rendered an inferior hominid, right? Hominoid, right? And so what else? I think that's about it. If you can't solve your problems in life, you're, rendered inferior primate syndrome. And, especially if you have instructions to do it. And, you only live once, and the best way to get into alignment with your best self is to begin solving the rudimentary problems that actually, create dissonance to you and your higher self. And the moment you get in alignment with your higher self, thus you have no problems, and your life is only positives, only positive habits. Thus, you're only inhabiting positive, things, right? Because understand that your habits, create who you are. And so if you're only indulging in positive habits, what do you think you're going to reflect and emanate into your fucking reality? So when you get into that, that space of you have to overcome those negative habits, just remember, if you don't do it, you're rendered an inferior ad hominid, and you have inferior primate syndrome because you can't even look at your life and then realize, like, fuck, dude, I'm depleting myself. I'm a self-depleting organism. What the fuck am I going to do, right? No, you're just going to look in the mirror and be like, fuck, dude, I got to get myself out there shit, and then do it. And, yeah. Links in the description to the program and the, self-development community and the mindset and everything. Just better your life. That's the only message for today. Peace.